This review is of Alani Cosmic Stardust Energy Drink. It's naturally flavored. Um, let's see, anything else? Alani and AlaniNew.com. Vegan, biotin, B6 and B12. Oh, good. Gluten free. 200 milligrams of caffeine. So you don't want to drink this all in one day. Better to break it up into 2 or 3 days. Safer for your health that way. Not recommended for kids, people who are sensitive to caffeine, pregnant women, or women who are nursing. Okay, so nutrition facts. No fat or cholesterol, 170 milligrams of sodium, 4 grams of carbs, of which none are sugars, and 1 gram of sugar alcohol, no protein, and the vitamins and minerals. And here are the ingredients. It uses erythritol, so if you are sensitive to erythritol, you should avoid this. It also has sucralose, so if you are sensitive to sucralose, instead, don't drink it, or be careful at least. Panic ginseng root extract, that'll help with some energy, I guess. Inositol, I think that's also a sugar substitute. All right, let's go ahead and give this a try. In the past few months, this just kind of popped onto the scene from wherever, I'm not really sure. And I've seen it at multiple stores, and at first it was too expensive, and then I saw it on sale, so I thought, well, I'll give them a try. So I got this and the other flavors that were available. It's like a candy flavor. Kind of reminds me of not Starburst. Sweet tarts, because it's got both sweetness and tartness, and it's got that fake fruity flavor that is fairly common actually with a lot of energy drinks. Because no matter what companies tell you, if they say that they're not targeting children, but they're using cartoon characters, they're using colorful colors, they're using flavors that are associated with things that kids like candy, cotton candy, cake, they are definitely, absolutely targeting your children. And this is not at all safe for kids to be drinking. It's not even really that safe for adults to drink more than, caffeine is dangerous in large quantities. I personally am not addicted to it. Why? Well, number one, I only drink about 1 to 2 cups worth a day. That's about 80 to 160 milligrams a day. And not every day. So there are days in a row where I don't have any, and then there are other days where I didn't sleep well or whatever, so I have some in the morning. But that is my secret to not becoming addicted to caffeine. And it works. It works great. But if we look at the history of addictive substances, be it caffeine or nicotine, and so on, we can see that companies will target children. Why? Because children are more vulnerable to becoming addicts than adults are, which is why drug dealers will sell to children, because they don't care, they want the money, and they want repeat customers. So if we look at tobacco, for example, big tobacco from the 1940s knew that nicotine was addictive, without a doubt. And from the 1950s, they had identified the carcinogens in their cigarettes, and they didn't remove them. And they continually spread lies. They made the Fake Tobacco Institute and its replacements, from which they produced fake reports about the safety of their products. They produced products that they claimed were safer, including filtered cigarettes, which don't actually filter. What they did is they put a chemical in the filter that reacted to I believe it was the heat, and it would discolor the filter where that heat was going through the filter. So it looked like it was filtering, but what they had learned in their secret studies was that the filters were useless. Didn't remove tar or anything else. They made longer cigarettes, so the smoke going into your lungs didn't feel as hot, which it can feel quite hot. I used to smoke a pipe when I was, for a few months when I was 18, and I stopped because it was irritating my throat, and I like the smell of burning tobacco for a pipe, because they're usually very aromatic, but that was it. So, and when they found out that secondhand smoke was dangerous, they lied about that. Tobacco did everything they could to convince the public that it was safe. So they had campaigns where they would say, "Oh, lots of doctors smoke cigarettes, and this is ours is their favorite brand." And then when that wasn't enough, they started creating cartoon characters like Joe the Camel for the Camel's brand, and they were geared specifically to attract the attention and interest of children. So Joe wore sunglasses, he wore a leather jacket, a white t-shirt, he had jeans on, the stereotypical cool kid kind of look. And even though he was a camel, he was a cartoon character. So after that campaign started, 30% of kids became smokers because of that campaign, camel smokers. So, and they lied constantly. The CEOs of the various tobacco industries were called before Congress, and to a man, because they were all men, they lied that cigarettes were not dangerous. That's what they said. They were not addictive. They were not dangerous. They lied over and over again every time they were taken before Congress. And it's useless having a congressional committee, because congressional committees are full of what? Politicians. And who do politicians get their money from? Big businesses, like big tobacco. So what happened was the Democrats wanted to prosecute them. The Republicans protected them. They walked away with no consequences for targeting children, for addicting them for life, for doing a lot of other things. And it was only until whistleblowers came forward in the late 1990s that the government, the federal government didn't really do anything for a long time, but the state governments banded together and started suing big tobacco. And then there was an agreement, and it forced tobacco actually had got itself the law passed initially to take TV advertising away from them. They didn't want it because they knew that it would be very hard for any new tobacco companies to enter the market. And they didn't, and at that time, there was a law that said, if you're going to advertise for every X number of tobacco advertisements, there must be an advertisement stating the truth about tobacco. So they had factual advertisements countering the lies of big tobacco. Big tobacco didn't want that. So they lobbied to have a law passed to ban TV advertisements for tobacco, smoking tobacco, cigarettes. I always thought that had been done by smart, caring politicians because they were protecting us, but it wasn't that. It was a move to protect the tobacco industry's profits, because that's all capitalist companies care about. If they're pure capitalist, free market capitalist, they believe in profits and profits only. They don't believe in psychological impact unless it benefits them. They don't believe in social impact unless it benefits them. They don't believe in anything other than money, money, money. That's all. So it wasn't until multiple states, over 30 states, sued them, some collectively, some individually, and the MSA was passed that banned tobacco from doing any advertising whatsoever. Of course, now they are sneaky about it, but in America, their ability to advertise is very limited. And the warnings on the boxes did almost nothing. They were almost useless. Even in countries where the warnings on boxes show graphic images of cancer in the lungs and stuff, people are like, they're addicted. It's a drug. And so they wanted to have a cigarette that didn't burn. Why? Well, because every year there were many cases of people falling asleep with a cigarette in their hands, and said that cigarette would fall, start a fire, and consume the whole building, or at least kill the person, And so it was bad press for them. So they decided they wanted to have a cigarette that didn't need any kind of flame or the cherry, the burning part. And so they came up with e-cigarettes and vape. And just as they had doctored the amount of nicotine and boosters that increase the addictive effect of nicotine in cigarettes, they did the same thing, and they continued to do the same thing with vape. So for people who are using, like Juul came out, and that was the big thing. Juul came out, Juul, and they were using not just nicotine, but they were using boosters that increased the addictiveness of the nicotine in their e-cigarettes. And eventually Juul was banned. But that started, along with e-cigarettes in general, started this big interest in the next wave of addictive nicotine. And Juul specifically targeted children with flavors that would interest children. Then, and I'm sorry, I'm gonna have to stop here. This is supposed to be about Alani, not about cigarettes, but you get the point, right? I hope. Which is, big business in general doesn't give a crap about your health or your kids. They only care about your money and keeping you addicted. All right, so I'm concerned that this flavor and the presentation and the name of the flavor are going to attract the attention of children. Now, obviously, young adults are going to be interested in this because, the galaxy, the stars, the universe, it's all very fascinating. Cosmic things are fascinating for a lot of people. And there is a rocket ship or 2 rocket ships or whatever on here as well. So that's going to catch the attention of wannabe astronauts and explorers and things like that. So I looked at the other 2 cans that I got, and they're similarly colored and designed to appeal to young people, not just young adults, but also to children. So, Alani, I'm calling you to task. Stop targeting children, and all you other companies as well. Don't make us have to sue you. So that's enough. I do like the flavor. The more I drink it, the more I like it. But I'll give this a 7. Afia, thanks for watching, and I hope you have a great day.